Hello, Deck. How are you?
Hello, George. I'm very well. How the devil are you on this Sunday evening in winter?
Sunday evening in winter. It's been cold, but
Isn't it?
but it's been good. It's been a good weekend of boxing. There's been plenty of boxing. I've been in the studio at the Sky Sports Studios covering the big gig from Saudi Arabia, where we had some ECM action on the card. And then Friday, or early hours of Saturday morning, I was up for the Netflix entry into the world of boxing, Deck. So there's a lot of boxing to get through this weekend. It's quite a historic weekend in general, Deck, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
You know it, and I know the listeners at home are thinking, right, GGBC, what fight have we missed? What is this historic date in the calendar? Will you tell us what it is, Deck?
Yeah, I just then, before we started recording, obviously I always have BoxRec open when we're doing this so we can like go through people's records and whatever. And on BoxRec they have the floating video, and it says, on this day, are you going to cry? And it's you sat next to Eddie Hearn, on Eddie Hearn's left, Carl Froch, and you're goading Carl Froch, suggesting he might cry. And I'm looking at the date, and it says on this day, Sunday 17th of November. I'm wondering, would they have put that ringside out on like the Monday before? Obviously, the first fight was the 23rd of November, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember.
So they're claiming that you said to Carl, that famous ringside. I mean, your second most famous appearance on ringside was you asking Carl Froch if he was going to cry. But apparently, that was on this day. What was that? 2012, 11, or later? 13.
13 day, yeah.
13,
2013.
Yeah. Of course it was, because this year was 10 years, 2013. So 11 years to the day you were goading Carl Froch.
Making Froch cry, yes.
Making him cry.
And he's been sensitive ever since, really. I mean, he's calling out YouTubers.
He's been on
now.
YouTube today. Yeah.
Oh, tell me about it. But anyways, enough of that
Should we start with the proper boxing?
Let's start with the proper boxing.
Proper boxing.
Right, so we are out in Saudi Arabia. We've got Chris Billam-Smith taking on Gilberto Ramirez. Is that the right way around?
Yes, Gilberto Ramirez, the 33-year-old southpaw from Sinaloa, Mexico, who took on, obviously, friend of the show, British boxing stalwart, WBO cruiserweight champion Chris Billam-Smith at the venue Riyadh season in Riyadh.
Yeah,
in that unification fight.
We was on Sky, and it makes us sound like we don't know where they're boxing. So you just keep going.
The venue.
They're at the venue. You're like, all right, what is the venue? But I suppose they don't need to sell the naming rights for the venue.
Nope.
They just call it the venue. Unless there's a big company out there that's called it, like they're called the venue, and they're just trying to be super ironic. Would that be? It wouldn't be quite irony, would it?
No, but
it's
they're
stretch.
just. Yeah, they're
like
just
Lance Morissette.
They're very they're very literal with their namings. But anyway, that was the spot for this unification fight. Chris told me in the build-up that when he saw that Zerdo had moved up to cruiserweight, he was like, "There's my ticket to Vegas." And in the end, he has his unification fight with him in Saudi Arabia, of course. And after 12 rounds, George, Chris Billam-Smith is now the former WBO cruiserweight champion because Gilberto Zerdo Ramirez won unanimous decision, 116-112 on the cards of Dion Duarte and Steve Weisfeld. And then Mark Lyson, our very own, had it 116-113. All three in favour of the new unified cruiserweight champion, Zerdo Ramirez. Chris Billam-Smith had no complaints about that decision. Did you, George?
No, I had no complaints about the decision. I thought he was a clear winner. Ramirez, I thought that he was in a lot of the time busier. He had the really eye-catching shots. Looked like he'd hurt CBS, more than once, and horrific facial damage for CBS. But he's just that fighter, Deck, isn't he? Where you always give him the benefit of the doubt because he's had instances in the past where he's looked like he's sort of dead and buried, and he's come again. He's sort of been down the gum shield, as we say, and he's tough, and he comes and he does hit hard, but it was a lot lacking. I put it down to maybe a little bit of inexperience fighting southpaws. So might not have had the exact facts, but they said that he hadn't boxed a southpaw as a professional. He was going way back into his amateur days.
Since his fifth fight. No, he boxed his fifth fight a Georgie Dannett. It was his 5th fight. It was a southpaw. Chris said he was probably more like a middleweight. But, it's like early days of his professional career. That was the only southpaw. And I think I'm right in saying he never boxed a southpaw as an amateur.
There you go.
So,
not enough.
And then you've got Gilberto Ramirez, clearly an elite southpaw. Maybe. You might just be right. But that's what it looked like to you, was it?
Well, yeah, because he wasn't able to make any adjustments throughout the fight. He wasn't able to do anything different, show anything different. He didn't change the tempo, change the pace, just move around to a different way, move around to his left, move around to his right. It was the same from Chris Billam-Smith. And yeah, Ramirez, when he did land, when he did put them shots together, lost times landing heavy to the body. You're thinking this is taking its toll on Chris, and I think a lot of other fighters wouldn't have made it to that final bell just off of the fact of that, the volume of shots that were coming and landing. He's never been the best at evading attacks. He's never been the best. He hasn't got the fastest feet. He doesn't move his head. So he usually has to take a few shots, but he's always in a position to sort of use his strength and then punch back with them. And yeah, like, it didn't work for him Saturday night, sadly, for us Brits who were cheering him on. So, I thought he got comfortably beat, to be honest, Dec. How did you score it?
Yeah, I thought it was like an 8-4. Like, I think that's fair enough. I thought, first of all, not an ounce of quit in Chris Billam-Smith. Like, we know that already because we've seen the wars he's had, but fucking out. Like, Ramirez as well. I sort of underestimated him a bit. Like, obviously picked Chris Billam-Smith to win. I thought that he was going to underestimate CBS. But he looked like a man who'd done his homework, boxed really well, like really good variation, head and body. I thought the first round, though, CBS absolutely hammered him, and I was like, this is going to be light work for him. This is what I was expecting. And then Ramirez just adjusted, just settled into the fight and just took over. And then Chris came into it towards the end. I think Ramirez probably tired at that point because he's thrown so many punches, and Chris just going nowhere. And in the build-up, Shane McGuigan had said at the press conference, he said, look, we probably would agree that Gilberto Ramirez is the more skillful fighter in this fight, but he's not a career cruiserweight like CBS. He hasn't got the grit, he hasn't got the heart, he hasn't got the strength and the resilience and the power of CBS, and that will be the factors in this fight. But in the end, it was just the skill was just a bit too much. And all of those factors in Chris's favour, obviously the eye is not going to help him. He wouldn't use it as an excuse. To his credit, in that post-fight interview, he didn't say, I couldn't see, so it was a nightmare. He was just like, that's boxing, that's what happens. I mean, it probably ain't going to be much fun boxing a southpaw when your eye's cut like that. I thought Ramirez was very good with both hands as well. Like, walked him onto a couple of like left hooks from his southpaw stance, like short ones, which were really clever. And then obviously the slashing lead hook as well to the head, with the right hand. It was, I thought it was a really good performance. It's straight away, before we get on to what happens next with Chris, I'm thinking Ramirez Opataya is a really good fight. Like, I thought Ramirez was just not quite big enough for this division. And obviously he'd had the Guillemarian fight and whatnot, but he'd get found out against someone big like that. But he doesn't look like he looks vaguely fleshy on the scales, but he's good enough to sort of do the business at cruiserweight. And I think, yeah, that Opataya fight is very, very interesting.
Yeah, I don't even think he's that fleshy, really. Do you know, like, when you think about it, you know, you can see the shape underneath him, and he holds his form really well. There's nothing out of sorts. I doubt he cuts too much to make that cruiserweight limit, but
he would have to cut like fuck for super middle. Can you imagine?
Exactly. But you know, they're sort of skinny fat. A lot of those sort of fighters, especially when they've had to dry out to get tight, they just don't. Their muscles don't pop. You know, but I don't mean they can't take a shot. It don't mean they don't hit hard. I think, Ramirez, like the choppy right hook out of the southpaw stance, he would roll out underneath
head and body.
Billam-Smith's left hook, really smart. When he had to, he would make that adjustment, skip round and give himself room. a lot of the time you think, well, Chris's success will be if he can sit on the chest and catch him. Just catch him when he's sort of switched off, and then he'll have to go. Because, again, to his credit, Chris Billam-Smith can do that. He can, if he catches you with something, now's the time to go, kid. Go, go, go. And he will just go. He's got that within him. He's not hesitant with that. And he's not too fussed about gassing out. Because I think a lot of the time throughout his career, he's felt exhausted. And he's just had to get on with it. Just get on with it. And that's what he does. And to that point, he can break someone's heart. Because he looks like he's finished, but he's not. Because he just keeps coming. And in that regard, Deck, you're left, me as someone who knows him, who's known him for a long time, got a personal relationship with him, you're thinking, after 8 rounds, I think the face was not in great shape by this point. You're wondering, do you pull him out? Do you not? This is a unification fight. It's the top level.
Yeah, it's the one,
You can't pull him out because this guy can turn it around. He's got that frotch way about him, whether he's happy about that or not. He's got that way where you can't write him off. He hangs on in there. And was that going to be the case against Ramirez? It would have been, the odds were against him. Every round that was trickling past, was he going to be able to find it felt a bit like a lottery punch, but he's tough. The referee didn't want to stop it. The doctor got called in to look at the eyes, and Chris said, "I'm fine." Exactly what you would say as the fighter. And he's gone on. But he does take a lot of punches. We can't get away from that, and it's not fair if we don't say that. Just because he's our friend, don't mean we can't tell the truth about that. He takes a lot of punches, and that's a concern. That's a concern for his health. For any fighter's health who takes that many punches. So, and you think about it like that, Dave. Firstly, do you agree? Do you think he takes too many punches? And if so, where do you think he goes from here?
I think we know he takes a lot of punches, but in that same interview before the fight, and we were asking him about Lawrence Okolie moving up to heavyweight, and obviously Okolie's now ranked at 6 or something with the WBC, I think, and it was well, that makes CBS number 5 with the WBC at heavyweight, therefore, if he's beaten him already. And Chris was like, I don't have plans at heavyweight because of my style. I get hit a lot. I don't need to be getting hit by heavyweights. And it's obviously the pod we did with him back in the day, one of the first ones we did was about inside fighting, and when you're on the inside like he is and he works really well, and his best stuff was when he got up close to Zerdo and just closed the gap like that, you're obviously in the firing line then. You're the whole target's there. He got hit a lot against Isaac Chamberlain as well, and you sort of I know what you're saying, because it's okay at a level, isn't it? But when you're in there against Gilberto Ramirez, 46-1, 2-weight world champion, southpaw, sharp, talented, it's different to when he's boxing British title level and whatnot. These are dangerous blokes. But I think, even having said that, I don't think he's going to change that. Would you agree with that? You can't. He's 34 years old, and
I don't think he can change it.
You can't change that now, can you?
If he could change it, I don't know why he wouldn't have. So I don't think he can change it. It's not. He's not on a Toro Gatti where you're like, oh, at least he's always in entertaining fights. He is in entertaining fights, but he's. If you think, I think the Masanek fight, he took a lot of punches. Great.
He wasn't at the races that night, though, I don't think.
Yeah, but it's just another fight where he took a load of punches.
Yeah, true.
Okolie caught him near the end. He weathered that storm. The first Riakporhe fight, both guys took a lot of punches, but Chris took a lot of punches.
Chamberlain was a war, wasn't it?
Chamberlain was a war. Sometimes he gets hit, Chris, and he might look worse than what he actually is. He's just got that sort of style. I had the same, you're not unraveling, but you kind of have a bit of that look about you. Some people are the opposite. You hit them and they're gone, but you don't see it. They don't show it.
Yeah.
But so there might be that at play. But I just think if I'm Chris Billam-Smith, I'm at the top of the tree now. You gotta be really astute and clever with what happens next. He definitely doesn't want to drop down a level to try and climb back up. Does he want to stick at the top level and see if there's any other opportunities there, or does he have to drop back down, have another win, an easier fight, something to make himself feel good again? Would he get another opportunity? Because the way the stuff is that unifications after unifications are coming. The champions, so there's 3 champions now instead of 4. So we've got Ramirez or Pataya. If it happens in Saudi, sort of makes sense. There's a WBC champion lurking around deck, isn't there? He just won it against Makabu.
Noel Mikalayan. He's been going years as well.
Yeah, but that's the sort of guy. That's a winnable fight for Chris Billam-Smith.
Chris Billam-Smith beats Noel Mikalayan 100%. If it was my money on it, he's beating him. So I think in answer to your question, it's not like he's devoid of options. But you're right. When there's only 2 or 3 champions, 2 of them are going to be boxing each other once, maybe twice. The thing that he has on his side is that he's obviously this massive ticket seller in Bournemouth. So what I would assume will happen now is, like you said, he'll have a rest, he'll have Christmas off, he'll have New Year's off. He's been obviously away from his family for this camp, for all camps. So he'll go and just reset. They'll get him out in the spring next year in Bournemouth, I guess, and sell a load of tickets, get going again, and then he's right back in the picture because he's a big name in this division now after last night. It's not like he got hammered or anything like that. You look at the other people like Hussein Chinkara, the guy who's IBF mandatory challenger, I would pick CBS to beat him, for instance. These are the names at the top of the rankings. There's dangerous people there, Uniel Dorticos, people and you've got Chevon Clark and people like that in this country. He's obviously boxed in the amateurs, lost in the amateurs, I think, in the ABA final to Chevon Clark. These are money fights even over here. Maybe not big pay-per-view fights. Won't be getting paid what he got paid against Ramirez, I dare say. But there's a lot of fights out there for him. Would you like to obviously whenever someone loses in a fight like that, like the big pinnacle fight, and he's obviously achieved his dream already, and he had the big moment at Bournemouth, people go, it's just he should retire then. Would you agree with that?
Don't know. It's nice to go out on top even after a loss. But at the same time, you're unlikely to earn the money you're earning right now doing anything else in your life, and you've fought your whole life to get to that position where you can command significant purses. But his world title purse, as world champion purse, might be very different from a Chev Clark fight purse, which is, if Chev Clark, if he can get 100 grand for that, but you're like, well, that's a lot less than you're actually getting. You do get sort of half spoiled like that, and you have got to go to the well, and you have got to work hard, and you have got to take punches for this money. So it's a tough one.
It's a good point.
Really tough one, Dave. I'm only a lot of time I'm speaking from my own experience, and who knows whether I got it right or any fighter ever gets it right when they make a decision to sort of navigate their career, to steer it in whichever way they sort of see fit. If he said, I'm going to have a little think about this, go home, spend some time with the family, and then goes, do you know what, I think I'm going to call it a day, I think I'd back him in that regard, because I think he's had a sensational career. He's got 2 losses on his record, one that he's already overturned as such, beat Riyadh. So, he showed his class throughout and made them improvements, got to the top, climbed the tree. So many people would dream of the career that Chris Billam-Smith's had. Maybe he should call it a day, but at the same time, if an opportunity comes up for a world title eliminator, or even if just out of the blue a shot opportunity comes up and it's good money, and you could never say don't lean into it, don't entertain it. But I don't know, Dick. I don't know. Only he can say. He's not. Yeah.
He's very astute, though, isn't he? He's very clever, very self-aware. He knows what he's doing as well. This is not like he's got no idea. Someone needs to tell him. Someone needs to get into him. I don't see that at all with him. I feel like he's going to be the one who's finger on the pulse. Him and Shane, they know, they're going to know between them, aren't they? What the crack is, and and even Boxer and his promotion, and they're going to have ideas and what they're going to do. I feel like he's kind of in safe hands.
If there's that element of once you become a world champion, it's a nice feeling, Deck, and you don't really want to give that up. You don't want to give that up. You don't want to go back to Civvy Street. I was dog tired and sick to death of boxing, and felt like I had an exit strategy before my last fight. Chris isn't like that. You know, Chris thought he was going to see out his days against Southpaws. He was going to beat Ramirez, beat Opataya, and then beat Alexander
Rematch
Usyk.
Opataya, and then Usyk. Yeah.
Who knows how that would have? That would have been some run, wouldn't it, Deck? Jesus. But yeah, I don't know.
But this is a guy. Chris Billam-Smith's a guy. He's 34 years old. Like, unfancied when he turned over. No one, not a big name. Like I said, beaten in ABA finals. Not GB guy. Like, none of that. And he won. What's he won? Commonwealth, British, obviously European cruiserweight title, world champion at Bournemouth outdoors in one of the biggest upsets in on a British ring sort of our generation in a world title fight. He's then defended it successfully, again sold out at Bournemouth. He's gone to another football stadium, avenged the defeat against Richard Riakporhe, and then he's had a unification fight in Saudi. From where he's come, obviously we've talked about it a lot in the past about like things just coming up and hurdles coming up and going, oh, maybe I'll just try the next one. Done it. Next one, done it. He's obviously found the point where he falls short, but it's the absolute highest level. For me, he's one of the success stories certainly of my time covering British boxing, of my lifetime really in British boxing. When you think about what he's achieved in a short space of time as well, that was only his 22nd fight. It's actually quite crazy. And what he's sort of generated in Bournemouth, that whole thing, let's go down to Bournemouth, it was a risk at first, and now it's no longer a risk anymore. I don't think he's done yet. I really don't. But yeah, he's got, obviously his missus is gonna they'll have a conversation.
Then. Let's get him back in Bournemouth.
So,
nice little tick over. Champions
there's
back,
enough big names,
and then it doesn't even not a life and death. Let's see him go out there and another ranking fight. See where he goes from there.
Exactly. Like Richard Riakporhe 6 with the WBC. Obviously,
where is Richard Riakporhe? Because last I saw he boxed Chris Billam-Smith. And he was hanging out with Madonna, but I haven't heard anything from him since.
But he's still six with the IBF, according to this. He's still, that's just an example. Chev Clark is 3 with the WBA. Junior Dorticos is 1. You got Rozicki at 1 with the WBC. Noel McAleon's a champion. These are people. Arsene Goulamirian's still hanging around. Callum Johnson is number 4 with the WBO.
Boom.
Do you know what I mean? Like Callum Johnson, do it at Bournemouth. All I'm saying is there are some divisions where if you were lost in that fight last night, you'd be like, fuck me, that's a hard road back to the top. He's 1 fight in Bournemouth, 1 win, and he's back up there. The thing is with him, I don't know if you agree with this, I feel like him and Shane have got every single ounce out of him so far. Like everything they could have possibly gleaned from that body and that mind, in a boxing sense, they've done that. So now you think, okay, what improvements can he make at this point that will get him to beat someone like Gilberto Ramirez or beat a Jai Opataya or whatever? Like, do you know what I mean by that? Do you think he can improve at this point? Do you think there's another gear for him?
I don't know. But he will try, won't he? He will try. He'll try and find it. Yeah. He had a plethora of therapists out there. He started reeling them off, and I'm sure there's a therapist or two that he maybe hasn't met yet and brought into camp. So there might be something, He's got a sleep therapist. I
think he was working with Greg Meehan as well. Our friend of the show, the breath specialist. He's got alignment people coming out of his ears, not literally, but
his ears are aligned.
His ears are well aligned. But I mean,
just like the listeners of this show,
aligned?
But their ears are aligned with our podcast, don't we?
Reaching a bit.
Reaching.
Leave it in the edit.
That's part of the therapy as well.
Yeah, you got
stretch. I'll tell you what might be a reach.
Go on.
Oscar De La Hoya. Did you see his get up at the weekend? I thought he looked great.
Mate, that was fucking brilliant. That was so cool.
The mariachi band was in. They were Mariachi del Oscar de la Hoya Cinco de Specials. They were good.
Yeah, very good.
They reminded me a little bit of the band I used to get in for shows.
Foregone conclusion.
Yeah, they they used to play like when the Saints go marching in, and yeah. They big time boxing, boxing.
But you got a band.
Oscar, Malik, Scott, they was all sort of giving the old CBS team grief all week. Maybe not quite enough respect to it. But De La Hoya, that's De La Hoya's first show out in Saudi's deck. Do you reckon there's going to be plenty more of that?
I don't know. Like, I don't know what it did numbers wise. I didn't see Turkey there. Did you? I don't know if I missed him at ringside.
Yeah, he must have been there. Sure.
I'm not sure. I mean, I assume it's the start of a big deal. The point is, it's like the start of a relationship with Golden Boy. But yeah, he kept calling CBS Chris Billam-Smith as well, which I thought was just like, come on, man, fucking hell, he's the main event. Like,
yeah.
It's like
Chris does call him Oscar Dilly
Hoya. Speaking of Dillian White, actually, no, we'll get on to that in a sec. Did you see De La Hoya has offered to fight Eddie Hearn? They're going to do a 5x5, but make it 6x6 with Eddie Hearn against Oscar De La Hoya. And De La Hoya said, I only need 2 months to train for that. I'm like, you need two... How many world titles did he win? He needs 2 months to train to fight Eddie Hearn.
Yeah, I think the truth is, like, when I had my hair transplant, like, I had to give it...
Did you?
I had a hair transplant. This is not a wig. This is actually organically growth, right? No, you do have to let it settle a little bit, and maybe Oscar's had a little bit of work done somewhere. It might be the head. It might be the abs.
The abs, yeah. You don't want to get hit in that by 6'8" Eddie Hearn or whatever.
Yeah, see you.
But yeah, but
that's a fight. That's a fight I'd like to see.
I'd love to see it.
It would be almost sort of fictitious celebrity fighting, you know. I wonder where it would be, Dick. I wonder what it would be like.
I mean, surely De La Hoya wipes the floor with Eddie Hearn, like
retired legend beat like influencer. Is that what you're saying? Is that what De La Hoya?
It's Oscar De La Hoya. Like, I know he's old and whatnot. I mean, we're going to get onto old legends having a go, but he's not Mike Tyson's age, is he?
No, he can't be Mike Tyson's age. But he did win a medal in 1992.
Yeah, true.
And I suppose Tyson was world champion in like 88, was he? So
let's have a little look at how old he is. De La Hoya age.
He's got
51.
51.
He's 51. But he looks in good nick. I mean, fuck knows. But I mean, Eddie Hearn must be getting on for that as well.
Yeah.
Anyway, the point is,
yeah,
yeah,
right.
They're looking at a 5x5 matchroom against Golden Boy. We won't go into those fights yet, because in case they make it, because we want to stretch a pod out of that, I reckon. But yeah, the rest of the card, obviously, you were doing it for Sky, so we watched it all.
Yeah, lovely little card. There was a couple that sort of lingered on.
Ramirez Barboza. I thought that was going to be an absolute banger, and it was so drab.
I thought Barboza boxed well. He boxed
really
safe,
well. Yeah,
but they were like, you know, some of the guys in the studio were saying they thought it was a 50-50. I was like, nah, Barboza was just winning easy and comfortably.
Yeah, and then why would he throw anything out? Like, he's winning the rounds, and they're just ticking over, and it's the biggest win of his career.
Tevin Farmer, he impressed me. Like beforehand, I thought I had a little look, and I thought he's smaller. And
former world champion at super feather.
Is he there just to make up the numbers? But now he sort of. And I thought he was a bit more of a killer, Cepeda, but he didn't Cepeda him. He sort of more.
He sort of did at the start, didn't he? Because it looked like, oh god, he's going to get Farmer's going to get absolutely overwhelmed. Like, good matchmaking here, old name, just going to steamroller him.
Yeah,
and then he dropped him. I think, what was it, in the fourth?
Yeah, the fourth. So the first 3 rounds he was
counter.
getting absolutely chugged on. Chugga, and just kept hitting.
Yeah, lavaed.
Yeah,
get lavaed.
Lavaed. And then he went, how about this? Whack. Gave him the old drop back right. I think it's drop back right, is it? Or he's not southpaw. Yeah, drop back, drop back left. Boom. He sent him to Kansas City, didn't he? And then
really did.
Got up. and
Canvas City, one-way ticket.
One-way ticket to Canvas City, and then he got up, and then it felt like whenever Zepeda tried to put a little bit more zip on the Zepedas, do you know what I mean? So if he tried to put a little bit more, and he'd tense up and get caught, so he just settled for, I'm just gonna arm punch him for the rest of the night.
Yeah,
which he did, and he didn't.
And one with volume really alone.
Yeah. I thought he won it pretty clear. If I the way I was sort of scoring it, so a couple of the rounds that went to Farmer, I don't really think Farmer won them either, just because. I think once someone gets knocked down, it's hard for the referee and the judges to not sort of constantly see that. Have you ever noticed that? It's almost once they've been dropped, it's like they're going to get stopped at some point, so they just switch off. But yeah, that was that minimum. There was a minimum weight.
Mate, that was that was really good. That was the other unification on the card, which was Oscar Calazo, or Cayazo, as Andy Clark pronounced it, against Tamamu Niomchong, aka Knockout CP Freshmart, but he was the one who got knocked out.
What is Knockout CP Freshmart? It sounds like a supermarket.
In Thailand, they get like sponsored, and so they get renamed.
Banging.
So, and he was, I think, the longest reigning champion.
What would be your renaming for your brand?
Mine would be
Line
Swindon Co-op.
Declan Line Bike.
Declan Line Bike. No, just Line Bike. Knockout Line Bike Freshmart. Line Bike, if you're listening, we could do something. But anyway, Calazo, right? So his minimum weight. He's 11-0 now. He's the Puerto Rican who's won a world title the fastest. Yep. He did it really early in his career. What was that? In his
7 bouts.
7th fight. Thank you. You've done your research. And he's now 11. That was 11-0, and he's got 8 knockouts, which is a really at those weight classes. That's a really heavy-handed record. And
that's the minimum requirement.
It was such a good performance, though. I thought it was like, we say punch perfect a lot. Didn't put a foot wrong, didn't put a hand wrong. Dropped him a couple of times, and the knockout, like the uppercut that finished it, the ref was just like, no thanks. I thought that was really impressive. Like, you're always thinking, is there going to be a little star emerging down at like minimum weight as well? Like, he's very exciting. I
got a new idea for some new weight divisions. I think there's
just what we need.
I think there's
more belts
there's
as well.
too many at the bottom and not enough at the top. So I think let's just go straight in at like just on the stone. I know it's old school, but on the stone. So we have 8 stone, 9 stone, 10 stone, all the way up to 16 stone, and then 16 stone plus. That gives you 10 weight divisions. That's enough.
I think you should speak to Turkey about that. Maybe.
I think Turkey would be up for
drastic,
it. No,
mate.
yeah, but
yeah.
Like, it's cruel for them geezers at the bottom who are going up.
It's very cruel.
Imagine
I'm
11 weight
stone.
I'm 11 weight world champion, and you're only 9 stone 2. So.
Yeah, and also like the difference. I know this is the whole point in it, but like if you're 8 stone 1 and you have to go up to 9 stone, that's like. What's my maths here?
That's £13, isn't it?
50, yeah, but whatever percentage of your body weight. If you're going from 15 to 16, it's just not. It's not like another leg. But anyway,
what would Justin Timberlake say to that?
He's bringing sexy back.
No, he's bringing minimum weight back, mate. He's say fucking. This is what it is. Get bigger. They all get bigger.
Get bigger.
That's what Pacquiao did. Got bigger.
I'm not sure your run at the fucking WBC presidency is going to go very well if that's what you're going to hang your hat on. But maybe, who knows? Anyway, just to finish off that card, Oscar Duarte beat Bortazan Akhmedov via UD. That was a really good fight early on. Nice that. And then there was a draw between Ziad Almayuf, the local man, and Juan Carlos Ramirez Garcia.
Yeah.
That was the opening fight. It was a 6-rounder. I thought he was lucky to get a draw myself.
I think he had Buddy McGirt in the corner as well. Buddy McGirt and Liverpool legend Paul Smith. Not the designer, the boxer.
Yeah.
He was out there.
So that was that card. I mean, I'm all in favour of 6-fight cards, as you know. Obviously, CBS didn't get the decision, but a wonderful night for him.
If you know,
well, that's. I mean, you're getting paid for it, mate. So.
3-fight cards, to be honest, when they're like that. But it was good. It was really good. Should we're talking
rewind
of Punch Perfect. Should we rewind to Friday night? Yeah.
Yeah, but I got a confession.
Go on then.
I haven't watched it. And I don't plan to watch it because
these are my
I wasn't going to stay up.
It's
my confession. It was because I was out on Friday night at a gig. Actually, shout out Aaron and Gordon. Two blokes who I saw at the gig. They weren't playing.
No.
Foregone conclusion. No, they weren't playing. But I saw them at the pub before the gig, and they were like, "Oh, I love GGBC. Get it back. We love George." Aaron even says he's got a George Groves T-shirt from back in the day. So they shout out those two boys. Anyway, I was out and I was like, I ain't staying up for that. I watched the Katie Taylor fight and then I went back to sleep because I was like, I can't do it. And I was like, I'll watch it back in the morning. And then I saw what happened and I was like, I can't be asked. And I think what I said on the pod last week, George, I said, you will never rewatch Mike Tyson against Jake Paul.
You won't even watch it, let alone rewatch it.
Are you going to rewatch that? Are you like?
No.
I haven't seen. I've seen the clips, obviously. I've seen all the clips. I've been, but I'm like, I ain't sitting through that start to finish.
No.
What did you think? Obviously, you've done. There's already on the YouTube channel a breakdown of it, where you sort of give your opinion. But I don't. Was it as bad as sort of I'm hearing?
Yeah, it was really bad. But it was
real bad.
It was what do you expect? Do you know what I mean? What do you expect?
I did say it was going to be a distance fight, though, didn't I?
You said it was a draw. No, it was. I'll tell you what it was. They were definitely trying to hit each other, which, I think there's been a couple of people trying to show, oh, look, this is where Tyson decided I'm not allowed to pull the trigger here. I won't get paid if I knock him out. No, that's not the case.
He looked like he was trying on the clips I saw.
That's what I mean. He gave it a bit of a go. Do you know what I mean? But he's an old boy. He's just happy to be there. He's getting paid. He's getting paid handsomely for it. And Paul, first time I've seen Paul fight, he's, average.
11 or 12 fight novice or whatever he is. That's
average. He couldn't do anything, couldn't set anything up, had no variety, had no jab. Very white collar boxer-esque, experienced white collar guy. Someone who's never been in an amateur gym but been in a white collar gym for 5 years now. Spars with other white collar fighters and has a fight.
Big and strong and fit as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, just big aloof doof, Tyson was
big
Tyson.
aloof doof.
He's old.
He's 58.
58 and he's old.
Did you see the quote? You see the quote that he wrote on social media? He said, "This is one of those situations when you lost but still won."
Can you do it in Tyson's voice?
No chance. I'm not getting cancelled.
Can you do it in Tyson's voice? Go on.
This is one of those situations when you lost but still won. I'm grateful. No, I can't. I'm grateful for last night. He said, "No regrets to get in the ring one last time. I almost died in June. I had 8 blood transfusions. I lost half my blood and 25 pounds in hospital, and I had to fight to get healthy to fight till I won." Wait. You never know.
When did he? When did he do Marlon Brando Godfather?
Oh man, but he almost died. I know for sure. I think the best thing about the fight week. Did you see the interview he did with a child? There's a child, right? And she's like,
no, it's not.
What does it mean about legacy?
Right, yeah, go on.
Jazzy. No, it's like, what does this? Children my age are going to see this and they're going to think about your legacy. And he's like, legacy means nothing to me. He's like, I'm going to die one day. I'll be dust. I'll be nothing. We're all going to die. And she's like, thank you. No one's ever answered that question like that. I was like, fuck me. It was so good. Jazzy TV or something it was called. Shout out Jazzy TV. That was one of my favourite interviews I've seen this year. But Mike Tyson loses on points over 8-2s to Jake Paul. The end of days, is it?
Or
can we come again?
No, yeah, it's the end of days. Wait.
It's the end of days.
Have you seen the clip where it's Mike Tyson and it's Hasbullah? Is that his name? Hasbullah.
Oh, when he thinks it's a kid.
He's getting interviewed by Andre Ward. And he goes,
Andre Ward. That's it.
I thought he was a baby. I'm trying to kiss him. He's 20.
Oh my God.
He's 26 years old. He goes, I thought he was a cute little baby.
and he said he almost died. I mean, we were told that it was a medical emergency and blah blah blah. But he said he needed 8 blood transfusions, nearly died. I mean, fucking.
Why is he boxing? Enjoy your life.
But he got in the ring. He got a load of money, and he wanted to do it. What can you say? And the thing is, right? We're hearing 60 million people watch that fight. 60 million people on Netflix watched it, and you're like, say what you want about it. That is That is incredible. The gate money is a record for Texas. It doubled what the previous record, which was Canelo against Billy Joe Saunders in that state, doubled it. And what the good news for that is that the rematch between Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano apparently had 50 million eyeballs on it on Netflix. And that was another 10-round women's boxing classic. Again, there's a scream up from Amanda Serrano because she lost and Katie Taylor got decision via unanimous decision this time.
Dick, I haven't seen that fight because I did the opposite of you. Rather than staying up and passing out, I got up. I was like, I set my alarm for 3, and then the alarm went off at 3, and I thought, I don't think it's going to be 3. So I went back to sleep, woke up at 4:15, and thought, probably need to get back downstairs now and just get the old Netflix on. And yeah, I'd missed that fight, and I can't remember what time I ended up, but it was on the ring walk, so I timed it almost to perfections.
That is perfection.
But tell me about this decision, because online there's a lot of scream up saying Serrano should have won, and every time Katie Taylor has a fight, it's a scream up online.
That's women's boxing, though, isn't it?
Scream up online that she's had a favourable decision.
Yeah. Because we got that with Delphine Pursoon back in the day. Remember the first one at MSG? Obviously, the one against Amanda Serrano, the first fight, was another one of them. Even the Chantal Cameron rematch, like people were saying, some people thought Chantal won that fight. I personally scored it 6-4 to Katie Taylor after 10. She did get deducted a point for a headbutt in the 8th, though, so I had it 95-94 like the 3 other judges. We know 2-minute rounds are much harder to score in theory because there's far less margin between the two, or far less time for someone to clearly win a round. But I thought Taylor was, you could watch that fight and make Amanda Serrano a winner if you wanted. Like, that's fucking boxing for you. But as Taylor said in the presser afterwards, she said, I don't really care. She sat there. She's 2-0 against Amanda Serrano. Like, what's she supposed to do? Just keep fighting Amanda Serrano until she gets on the end of one of these decisions. I think the point is, it's a bit like what Tyson Fury said after the Usyk fight. He was like, it might have been Tyson Fury SD against Alexander Usyk, and then he's the greatest fighter ever, and Usyk's shit. It's like, no, they're both what they are. They both achieve what they did, but just one of them's got a narrow decision. I think the Amanda Serrano Katie Taylor 2-fight series, whether it becomes 3 or not, we'll have to see, is like, in terms of women's boxing, is the pinnacle. Both of them, like what they've done in those 2 fights has brought that sport on like nothing else. And there has to be a loser. I thought it was a funny little sideshow with Eddie Hearn, like, not allowed there because of he's getting sued. No, he's suing Jake Paul at the moment.
Why is he suing Jake Paul?
Damages for something, I can't remember exactly what. He said something about, I should really look. I don't want to say it wrong in case we get sued. But yeah, basically they had to like ask for special dispensation for Eddie to even be there with Katie. Obviously, he's promoted us for his whole professional career, and they even tried to not allow him on the press conference afterwards. And Brian Peters, Katie Taylor's long-term manager, was like, either we're all going up there or no one's going up there. So in the end, they let them all up.
Did he say anything interesting, Eddie Hearn? Did he make the most of it?
He didn't have I didn't hear him say anything about Jake Paul.
No.
He said he didn't watch the fight. He didn't watch the Jake Paul against Mike Tyson fight.
Who would win, Jake Paul or Katie Taylor?
I thought you were going to say Jake Paul and Eddie Hearn. That's a fight I would want to see.
Yeah.
That's a fight I'd want to see. I'd rather see that than Eddie Hearn against Oscar De La Hoya. I mean, did you say Jake Paul or Katie Taylor?
Yeah, who wins that fight?
Katie Taylor beats Jake Paul.
Yeah. They did
handily.
2-minute rounds.
2-minute rounds, she would annihilate him. And let's see that. But
everyone wants a bit of Jake Paul now, don't they? Because
Better Biev's called him out.
Better Biev's out there. I saw Bellew out there. Turn this.
Andre Ward, I think.
Ward was hinting at it without saying I'll fight him, but he needs to fight someone younger and fresher. It's like, can you imagine Ward just spoiling his way to a win against Jake Paul? Just tying him up and tapping
unanimous
him around, wins on points. It's like Froch is desperate for it. He said he'll fight with one arm behind his back. What if? I mean, Froch, he's 47. He hasn't boxed for 10 years. Like,
Froch is walking through Jake Paul though, and he fucking hell.
Yeah, but imagine if like Father Time was caught up on him. He ain't been punched on that new nose yet. and then Jake Paul's a bit of a lump, and
I'm sorry, he's not.
I wouldn't write it off, man. I think Jake Paul might do him.
Yeah, are you trying to get some? You're trying to draw out the Carl Froch on fighting viewers here to get in the comments.
No. You know, I mean they're loyal to their leader, but no. We I think
better be.
I'm disappointed that everyone's chasing fucking Jake Paul. It's like you watch it and you go,
60 million people on Netflix.
You're from boxing. You watch it and you go, oh, for fuck's sake, what? Why have I done that? That was fucking stupid. Why have I done that? And then, like, there's dozens of fighters going, leave Tyson alone, I'll fight you. Or you call yourself a real fighter, I'll fight you. It's like, mate, have some decorum. Have some self-respect. Stop telling me you've doubled your net worth. You don't need the fight, right? Stop.
Have some 60 million viewers on Netflix though, and about fucking 10 million quid.
Yeah, great, but like, come on, we need to protect boxing. We need to protect the soul of boxing, yeah. And don't let Jake.
You were trying to make him
Paul
against Katie Taylor 5 minutes ago.
I'd watch that fight.
But Katie Taylor's not going to call him out though. She's too respectful.
No, but Katie Taylor's still active. Like,
yeah.
I mean, and so is Beterbiev. So Beterbiev wants a bit of this.
He's the longest reigning world champion.
Breeders was dressed as Mario asking for these sort of fights.
He didn't get it. He didn't get it. I'm interested to see what that was. That there is no. I wrote this in Boxing News. There's no fight I can think of that's polarized opinion like this one. Obviously, fights in history have polarized people, and some people, you know, like people didn't like Muhammad or Cassius Clay as he was there, so there was polarization there. And in big fights. But I can't think of a fight like this where it's been like either people are like falling over themselves. The numbers we did on Boxing News on our socials and whatnot for this fight, people falling over themselves to watch it, or people saying this is a disgrace. It shouldn't be happening.
Are they watching it because are your numbers high because it's a disgrace? And is that what we're going for?
Yeah.
We're just going for...
But that's what I mean. Where does the Jake Paul story end? That's what I can't quite figure out. It's like, does it end with him getting splattered by someone because he just goes one step too far and he's like, fuck it, I'll be able to fight this person?
No, he will never go one step too far.
No,
he would never go one step too far.
Does it just fizzle out?
No, it keeps going.
Just keeps going.
Just keeps on going because...
Speaking of... Yeah.
Go on, speaking of what keeps on going?
Speaking of what keeps on going, 2 names. Dillian White. He's back.
Yep.
He's boxing in Gibraltar on December the 15th. There's a bit of news for you. Against Ebenezer Tete, who got knocked out in a round by Daniel Dubois like 6 years ago. And Callum Smith is back. He's on
the same bill.
Galauya fight on the Sonny Edwards Galauya fight undercard on November the 30th. Callum Smith is back.
That's good. Why? How long has he been out, Callum Smith? You've thrown a curveball at me.
He's been out for. Has he boxed since the Beterbiev fight? I don't think he has. I think he was talking about.
It wasn't that long ago.
He was talking about retiring. That was in January, but I thought he might retire. But he's going to come back on that card, back. George. What do you think of that?
That's good. He's back. If he's
34, like CBS.
Yeah. Were you trying to make that fight? Yeah.
I assume he must be coming back at light heavyweight. He's
not big. He's really tall, but it'll take years to grow into a cruiserweight. It's probably too late for him now to do that.
It's the biggest jump.
But that'd be good for if he didn't seem washed up against Beterbiev. Beterbiev just used that advantage that he had, that his testosterone was going up in camp, and used that to lathered Smith like no one else had done before. So he's had a good break, I suppose. You know, maybe had some more kids or something. You know, might be. I know he's got a family at home, Smith. But and Dillian White's back out in Gibraltar. So that's a run out, I suppose, before a Saudi gig. Like he wants back on that Saudi scene, the heavyweight scene.
Yeah, maybe fight Jake Paul.
Yeah,
or Mike Tyson,
or Katie Taylor.
I mean, his last fight was in Castlebar in Ireland, so he's probably got a following. So maybe he's going for that. What I'm most excited about though is not that fight on December the 15th.
Christmas, Santa.
Christmas is not the most exciting thing happening this December, George.
No, it's not. Is it? No, I like this. Yes, go on.
Because December the 14th, is the debut.
Yes.
The start of the Lucas Roehrig story.
Yes.
Your protege, the club member, and he's got his debut, George. What are the details? December 14th?
So December 14th, my fighter, my one and only fighter, the next superstar out of the world famous Del Youth ABC, which has had so many champions come through its doors over the years. Lucas Roehrig, the next cruiserweight sensation, makes his debut. It's at the Harrow Leisure Centre, December the 14th. So yeah, if you want to join that journey, we did a great episode with him a couple of weeks ago now, so it's up online. Go back and listen to that if you haven't already.
Yeah.
And absolutely everyone is getting their deck. No, there's not one person who's missing it. Not one excuse that's worthy of not being there. Are you coming?
I hope so.
Yeah,
I really hope. It's December 14th. I haven't checked the diary, but December's a busy old month. I might be in Gibraltar.
Yeah. You can get.
There's another show. There's another show that week.
Sky have just announced a show. They've got a show up in Liverpool.
Natasha Jonas.
Is unifying.
I go where the money is.
Gibraltar, then.
Yeah. Famously. Yeah. But it's the start of the Lucas Roehrig journey.
Yeah, man. He's in. I
think it's a masterstroke to get that out of the way and to get the party started this side of the turn of the year. So then it's like that's ticked off. The debute's done and dusted, and then it's just 2025 is go time. And it means for you, George, first time in the corner.
Yeah, first time in the corner. First time underneath the spotlights in that role. So the pressure's on. I mean, Lucas got a fucking piece of piss. He's been sparking people out for years. Me, on the other hand, I've got to work out. Remember the gum shield, remember the spare. I've got a lot on my plate deck. As well as fucking managing you for this podcast. It's
exactly.
Luckily you show up for these. You don't show up for fucking Lucas's debut, but you're showing up for this. And I'll tell you something else. Something your very good friend Wally Downs was at this week. I want to give a great shout out to one of the key figures in my life, my boxing career, and Lucas Roehrig's is our club coach, Mickey Delaney. No, not you. Mickey Delaney, who celebrated 50 years as the head coach of the world-famous Del Youth ABC. This man deserves an honour deck. I don't know how you do it.
Does.
Do you know any aristocrats, royal family or
royal
something?
Family.
I want to get him an MBE.
I grew up in Swindon.
Yeah. What do you get? What's the highest honour you can receive in Swindon?
Might be able to get. You could get on the bench for like Newport County at home or something like that.
Yeah. Get him on the bench.
Get Mick on the bench for a Swindon game. No, I mean that is 50 years. I saw the do. I was out the country this week. I saw Wally was there flying the flag. Wally was he spent some time at the Dale when he was a kid as well. I mean, it looked like a fucking great night. And hats off to you for organising it. And it looked amazing. We got to get him on the pod, George.
Yeah, so we're going to get
the stories he must have.
Yeah, he's got some great stories, really good stories. So yeah, we'll get him on soon, and he can give us a little insight into the Roehrig journey as well. And
yeah, of course.
Tell me give me some fucking pointers. Yeah, I'm a newbie coach. This guy's got 50 years in the game, so there's plenty. I love being around him for that reason. He's amateur through and through. So. It's a different world, the pro game. Everyone knows that. But in terms of getting the best out of fighters, there aren't many out there who can compete. In terms of
what sort of coach? What sort of coach do you think you're going to be, George? Like you mentioned Mick there. Obviously, amateur coach is different, and what his skills and stuff, and what he's done over the last 50 years is different to like what Shane McGuigan's done, obviously. But you've worked under Adam Booth, Paddy Fitzpatrick, Shane, Mick as an amateur. Dare say other people here and there as well, but you've seen other people from afar. Like, what sort of coach do you think you are?
I want to be an ever-evolving coach, Deck. So I don't know what that will entail. I don't want to be set in my ways. I don't want to be not open for
closed off.
Yeah, closed off. I'm there to learn. I'd love to hang out with other coaches, be in the gym with other fighters, and see what I can learn. Because I've been with other coaches throughout. My boxing life, and you pick up a little bit from each and every one, and they will say, who's the best coach? You say, well, that's hard to say. There'll be an overall, this guy was the best coach, but this guy did this better than him, and da 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 da. So there's a lot to learn, but you want to create exciting fighters, Deck. Fighters that you want to write about. So you need to keep nudging me and saying, fucking hell, get a move on, or you're getting nothing out of this.
Who's this bloke? Who's this opponent?
Yeah. So
in fact, you better be giving me the stories, actually, opponents, dates. Like, I need to be getting that stuff. If Wally starts getting fucking stories about Lucas Roehrig, I'm going to lose the plot. So yeah, anyway, that journey starts December the 14th, Harrow Leisure Centre. Contact whom for tickets?
Just slide in his DMs on Instagram.
Sophie, Lucas, everyone's at it.
Straight in the DMs and just say, mate, where's my tickets? He's not allowed to give them out on Tig. He's not posting them. All right, I don't need that grief. You know what I mean? This ain't a QR code job. This is a paper ticket job. We're old school in this regard. You want tickets? Get yourself down a Dale Sunday morning. Hand over your readies and you will get your ticket.
Be part of the journey.
Yeah,
you'll be at the start of the journey. There's not many opportunities to get on the journey early door. Look at CBS. Like, there were people from Bournemouth watching him last night in Saudi Arabia who've been there every step of the way. But not all those thousands who turned up at Dean Court have been there every step of the way. But some of them had, and they could say that. So that's your opportunity to get on that. Get at the start of the journey with Lucas. Okay, well, that's next month. We got plenty more to come before that. Don't know when I'll see you next.
No,
George.
we'll leave that at NFA. And there's a bit of boxing this weekend coming up. We've got
Harlem Eubank,
friend of the show,
ECM.
He's out. He's back with his Wasserman boys, back with the Wasserman guys. That's up in Newcastle. This one, Deck, isn't it?
Yeah. So his last one was in Brighton a year ago. He's had a hell of a year, hellacious year, frustrating, stinking year. He's back out in an 8-rounder. Against someone he should look good against, but there's a big opportunity coming in Q1 of 2025, but he can't fuck this up. So yeah, Harlem but that's on Friday night in Newcastle, about as far away from Brighton as you can get without leaving the country. But you go, has gloves, will travel Harlem. So okay, well, we'll see that on Friday.
All right, well, yeah, so I'll scatter my brain, see if we can rustle up a guest in the meantime. Another old school.
I've got a few ideas.
Yeah,
I'll text you.
Text me and we'll get them. Knocked about. Well, good to see you, Deck. Lovely weekend.
You too, mate. And hats off CBS. Hats off Mick Delaney. What a weekend of boxing. I'll see you at the next one.
See you next one, Deck.